What's going on YouTube? It's Clash Masters here. Before we get into this topic about the new Dragon Ball Super movie Superheroes, I just want to let you guys know that this is going to contain spoilers. This is going to be like my review, and this is going to be pretty much my take on the future of the franchise of Dragon Ball Super and when could we possibly expect to get the series back. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the content.
Gohan, listen closely. You have the potential to become the most powerful being on Earth. You need to believe in yourself and unleash that power. It's do or die time. So draw out all your strength and use it to protect your world and everyone in it.
So with no further ado, let's get into it. Dragon Ball Super Superhero, the movie, just recently came out yesterday, Friday, August 18th. And I seen it, at my local theater, and boy, oh boy, just from the start of it, they paid the homage to the Red Ribbon Army, give you a little bit of backstory of like where, like a little bit of, where they come from and how they started, and then who comes along, Goku and stuff like that. A lot of Dragon Ball stuff for people who aren't familiar with Dragon Ball. I suggest you, take time and watch Dragon Ball because it is a continuation for Z and Super. They go straight into that, and I think one of the cool things about it, while watching it, definitely was the animation of how, they did Dragon Ball. And also just even seeing Broly, a lot of the flashbacks that they use from like Z and Dragon Ball, the animation is always looking good, always looking crisp. It's something that we as Dragon Ball fans wish we could have in the show, but due to just animation and how fast the episodes got to be out, it's really just, never gonna happen. But the animation for that scene was excellent, I felt. And so we get to pretty much the Red Ribbon Army. They talk about how Goku came, he dismantled it, and I think the head boss in charge has like a son whose name is Red, no coincidence there. And he's kind of, laying low, putting a cover up for the Red Ribbon Army as the pharmaceuticals to help fund and pretty much take revenge and get rid of Goku in a more little sense. The cool thing about it is, they had the money, they had the resources, they just didn't have the scientists. And knowing that Dr. Gero was kind of spearheading Red Ribbon Army from my point of view, when they found out he had a grandson, they definitely had to get him, they definitely had to snatch him up because they knew, hey, Dr. Gero did a lot of good things in our organization, so if he has a grandson, it's even better. And I thought what was also cool was when in the movie they show you Dr. Gero's like family tree a little bit. Like we now know that Android 21 is canon somewhat if they happen to go that route, but they show a picture of her and Dr. Gero as if they were married. And then they had Android 16, which I thought was kind of funny because, in the abridged version, they would have Android 16 kind of like in a silhouette, talking to Dr. Gero about certain things, and you hear Goku in the background charging up the Kamehameha wave and then killing everyone there. And I guess that happened to be Android 16, which is one of the reasons why Android 16 is so hell-bent on, you know, killing Goku and knowing everything about Goku and just so obsessed with Goku 24/7 that he just wants him dead. So it's kind of fitting that they would kind of play with that for people who don't know too much of the lore of some of the characters in depth in that way. So, you know, that was cool. Then you move a little bit more further and you see these two silhouettes. We don't know who these two silhouettes are, and I feel that we could explore a little bit more into that because we're already getting somewhat of Dr. Gero's family tree. So I feel like you could kind of play on that a little bit, because it's said that we don't know what his parents did or whatever, but we do know that the son is somewhat like a reincarnation of him, but better. And you know, the son's big into superheroes, so he's kind of like a modern day like us, you know, the Marvel, the DC, the, you know, the Vertigo, and you know, the Image and Dark Horse comics. It's pretty much like, you know, he loves the superhero morale, he loves the superhero cause, and the way that the Red Ribbon kind of portrayed it is like, well, we're not really the bad guys, but Bulma is, you know. And I thought it was kind of funny how it's like the Red Ribbon Army versus Bulma and her Z Fighters, you know. That's how it was kind of like the depiction was to get Dr. Gero's grandson. You could correct me if I'm wrong, if I butchered the name, but I think it was Dr. Hero. You know, he's just seeing how he depicts superheroes and how the Red Ribbon Army on one side, they didn't really have the superhero stuff. They didn't look too much as superheroes. So when you're looking at it, you know, they're trying to like, you know, find a way where it's like, look, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to have an agreement, and this is going to go forth. So like when you're seeing sort of the movie, you're starting to see some of the gears turn. You're starting to see some of the things already early shift, where it's like, whoa, when the Z Fighters come across it, we know their good intentions are always pure. So they're not really going to kill nobody, but they might try to like reform a lot of villains that we've seen numerous of times, you know. So I thought that was going to be very good. And then, you know, they come to an agreement, and then they have like this secret society of the Red Ribbon Army somewhere like tucked away under our nose. And once again, of course, I gotta nitpick that when all this stuff always happens, from Revival F to Broly to now, like no Kai, no Dende, like no Piccolo, no one's not seeing this activity or sensing this kind of activity. It just goes off the radar, and then a year goes by or some months go by, and then they appear. So, you know, it's Dragon Ball. What can you say? What can you really do? You know what I mean? Because the androids in Cell were such like a headache, and just, it was a very tough time for the Z Fighters, because we know the original Dragon Ball Z timeline, like they're completely dead. And then Trunks came and kind of alternate that timeline. So the current timeline we're in Super is like a kind of alternate timeline. So, you know, what can you do about that? But it was definitely, the introduction was great. The introduction was good. I wouldn't really say they could have done this better, they could have done that better. They handled it, the first scene, excellent, to kind of tell some of these characters and what they've been up to and where they've been at, besides like off screen, you know what I mean? We had the focus already on the Z-Wars, but from the Red Ribbon Army side, I thought that was a good take on their part. So we jump into 6 months later, and you know, we have Pan, who's about 3 years old, training with Piccolo in the woods, you know, nothing new, but it was kind of cool to give Piccolo a home, just because we know Piccolo likes to be in like isolated place like mountains, woods, forests, you know, things of that nature. So I thought it was cool, pretty much paying a homage to the Saiyan saga with Gohan and Piccolo training, but now with his daughter, learning the basic fundamentals, and Piccolo pushing her on how to fly, which I thought was really good in a sense of, you know, the mentorship, the leadership, and like that uncle/father figure when Goku's not around, of course. So, you know, they stop with their training. They kind of, you know, talk a little bit, and you know, Piccolo's kind of reminiscing of when he had trained Gohan and how Pan is, you know, doing fairly good, surpassing her dad at, you know, such a young age and stuff like that. And it kind of dawned on Piccolo, because, you know, he knows Gohan has full potential, you know, to be better than Goku. And the fact that he kind of puts it to the side and prefers studying a little bit more and providing for his family, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You know, you have one guy who, you know, Gohan wants to obviously fight for peace, but if his dad's around, Vegeta's around, you know, what's really the point of him, you know, taking up the mantle? But there's going to be times where Goku may not be around, where Vegeta may not be around. They might be in another universe. They might be somewhere far battling who knows what. And the Z fighters on Earth, they need to stay and they need to protect their home. So I thought that was like interesting because, you know, we all know Gohan's pretty much, if Goku's not around, he has to take that place. And we kind of wanted that in Majin Buu, but, you know, Goku's forever, it's his story. But we could at least have it where Gohan is like second in command of power, you know, and Piccolo would really be the brains of everything that everyone would, you know, come and strategize with. So, you know, it was interesting to see Piccolo still, you know, getting his role, still getting his shine in. And, you know, Videl calls him to pretty much see if he could pick up Pan, because I think Videl, she's still doing martial arts, so she has a tournament. Gohan has a conference, and he's been, you know, working on it like crazy. He pays Gohan a visit, and he wants Gohan to kind of spend time with his family and pick up Pan, and also to keep on his training, because you never know, there could be obviously an invasion. Frieza could come back, or a new threat could happen, and Goku and Vegeta aren't around, so they need to be the ones to defend the Earth when the two heavy hitters are not around. And it was cool that, you know, Piccolo still does the changing technique. You know, he got Gohan out of his normal clothes and put on his demon gi that everyone knows and respects. And, you know, Gohan was complaining, just saying it's heavy and this, that, and the third. And it's like, okay, Gohan hasn't really kept up with his training to a degree and stuff like that. So I thought it was very cool. When Piccolo goes back, and I guess he's still meditating, he's still training, we see the first ever enemy, you could say, Gamma 1, looking to fight King Piccolo, so to speak. And Piccolo's telling him, hey, I'm not that anymore. That's my old life, and I don't go by that name. And then he's having this conversation, and he tells him that he was once Kami. So now this guy's confused, you know, and it's like, don't worry about it. If you know, you know, you know. But I thought the conversation was very interesting, because, you know, most villains will often give a certain amount of information during these before combat, and then they fight. But in this case, it was more so of just like an interesting introduction and trying to find an understanding, and then they got to the fight. Piccolo trying to figure out, you know, this guy's moves and things of that nature, because he knows he's an android. He sees the insignia of the Red Ribbon Army, and it's kind of like, hey, I don't know what they told you, but that organization isn't, you know, really what it is. You know, it's a front. So they're kind of, you know, they have their brainwashed, because they see Bulma's minions as evil and them as the good guys. So it's kind of like the roles are reversed. And, you know, they're fighting, they're duking it out. He pulls out this, you know, big gun, big explosion, and then he thinks he got rid of Piccolo, and he leaves. And it almost gave me a little bit of like a Gohan reminiscent, where it's like, okay, you know, just because he thought he overpowered Piccolo and he got one up on him, he beat him, but it's like, you didn't check to see if you actually killed him. You did all these fancy things, and, you know, punching him and have these heroic sound effects, you know, and the captions that you really thought you took him out, but really, we don't know. Then, you know, Piccolo, obviously unscathed, follows him, finds out that, you know, the secret Red Ribbon hideout is, and Piccolo goes in disguised as one of the Red Ribbon Army guys, and he finds out that, you know, these guys are trying to make a comeback. You know, they're trying to get rid of Goku, they're trying to get rid of Vegeta, they got rid of King Piccolo, and they're talking about getting rid of Mr. Satan. And then they find out that, you know, Gohan was also involved during the Cell game, so they want to get Gohan. They don't know how to get Gohan, so they want to kidnap Pan. Piccolo knew this would be a good opportunity to kind of push Gohan in that type of direction. And the reason why I feel like Piccolo, I kind of, you could say, knew what was going on, but played alongside the Red Ribbon Army. The reason why I feel like Piccolo played alongside the Red Ribbon Army is because he wanted Gohan to always be on guard, always to be on point in case if things happen. You know, Goku Black, like I said, a Frieza, androids. So anything can happen on Earth. Anything is possible. And I think him going there and trying to kidnap Pan would be kind of like that push, because we see Piccolo tagging along with some of these Red Ribbon guys, and he's it's crazy. He goes to Pan's preschool or whatever, and Pan notices that guy is obviously stranger danger. She takes him out real quick, real easy. But then when Piccolo comes around the corner, she notices, oh, it's Piccolo. So it's kind of like, okay, Pan is very in tune with like her senses and stuff like that, because she sensed Piccolo around the corner. She knew it was nothing maleficent, nothing evil, and she knew it was Piccolo's energy, which I thought was very, 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 very nice touch. Like the dad kinda is declining, but the daughter is a little bit more on it and knows. So Piccolo tells her, hey, we're gonna play along, play this game. Gonna pretend to kidnap you to get your dad to come out the house, and your dad be like this hero and save his daughter, which would be pretty cool. So she tags along, cuffs her, and then they go to Gohan's house, and then they're telling him, hey, we have your daughter, this, that, and the third, the whole ransom. They're recording Pan, putting some dolls, and making it look good, and Piccolo's in the back, coaching her. So I thought a lot of that stuff was good to kind of have Gohan get that drive, get that push, and he goes along with Piccolo and the other guys, and Gohan doesn't even know Piccolo was disguised as a Red Ribbon Army. He just thought he was a Red Ribbon guy. And you see Gohan there, he sees Pan, he busts out the plane, and he fights Gamma 2. And they're fighting, they're duking it out. Piccolo by then is on the other side where Pan is being captive, and he's telling her like, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, to kind of like give him a push and keep him focused, because he's fighting fair, but he's not doing too good. So he needs that push, he needs that drive. And you see Pan yelling, and like she's being tortured and stuff, and it's giving Gohan this boost, this rage from Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, fighting Gamma 2, back and forth. Gamma 1's watching, everyone's watching, it's in the rain. It gave me a nostalgic of future Gohan versus the androids, but having a fair fight, having both his arms and kind of being on equal playing field, having his potential unlock, obviously. It was kind of like paying a homage to the history of Trunks. So he's fighting these dudes in the rain, he's giving it to them. Then he goes Mystic, and then everyone's going crazy in the theater, like, okay, now it's game time. Now Gohan's about to really turn up. He's going in, he's doing his stuff. And then at that point, I think Gamma 1, if I'm not mistaken, he jumps in. Piccolo's like, you know what, screw this. He takes off the uniform. He wants to rematch. Because prior to that, in the movie, Piccolo's still trying to gather information. When he finds out the Red Ribbon Army's there, he's trying to get a hold of Goku. He's trying to get a hold of Vegeta. They're off planet, training with Broly. And, he's having Bulma to contact Whis, and to have these guys come. Then he figures, what, I'm gonna need something. He asks Dende, hey, Guru unlocked Krillin and Gohan's potential. Can you do the same? Dende can, but he's like, I'm not at that age yet to do it. So they figured, okay, well, we could ask the dragon. It's a no-brainer. And Dende's like, well, I could upgrade the dragon, give him 3 wishes and all that. So we're kind of like now. Our planet Earth dragon is pretty much like the Namekian dragon, with probably a little bit of different, still some pros and cons, but now they have 3 wishes, so go figure. Bulma's been keeping them for safekeeping so no one misuses them, but she's been using it on, cosmetics. What can I say? So, Piccolo goes, he gets the Dragon Ball from Bulma, he wishes for his potential to be unlocked, and then Bulma uses the other 2 wishes to cosmetic stuff. So now we fast forward to the reason why he fought Gamma 1, because he had the boost, he had his potential unlocked. So him and Gamma 1 are kind of on equal terms. And then out of nowhere, Piccolo is in a fight and he's kind of like knocked out or whatever, he's falling, and then the switch goes off. He has like this big tree symbol on his back, and that's when he becomes pretty much Orange Piccolo, a lot taller, a lot more meaner. The antennas are a little bit more, up. And Gamma 1 sees this in like Dragon Ball Z fashion. he's hitting him, in the chest. Piccolo's not moving, Piccolo's not flinching. He's just standing there taking those hits, regular Dragon Ball Z. Then he hits him one time, he goes sliding down, all twitching and everything like that. And it's like, okay, this is definitely Dragon Ball Z, but Piccolo definitely had this power up. We haven't seen that since him and Kami merged. And, it felt very rejoiced, to have Piccolo get this power up, to still be the guy that could take out a lot of great opponents, period, and that was good. For a lot of Piccolo fans, that was good. Takes that guy out, and then Gamma 2 is fighting Gohan, and then they kind of come to a realization where the Red Ribbon Army are the bad guys, who would really kidnap a child and who would really do all these things. A lot of their heroic instincts start kicking in now. At first they didn't want to believe it, but they were programmed to be heroes. They were programmed to know right from wrong, and when they overcame that and had that conscious moment, that's when it's kind of like, all right, yeah, these guys are the baddies. So, they kind of come together, and after a while, Bulma's there, Goten and Trunks are there, they're older now, 18's there and Krillin's there, and what I thought was funny was Piccolo said what everyone had all along. When he saw Goten and Trunks, he didn't know who they were, and then Gohan had to tell him that's Goten and Trunks. Saiyans, when they, it's like puberty pretty much. They could be short forever and then they just have a growth spurt. Saiyans grow rapidly, fast, or whatever. I thought that was like a little nice nudge, little nice thing, because Vegeta would say certain things like that, and for Gohan to say it was pretty cool. But at the same time, it had to happen because they've been kids for a long time. So, Goten and Trunks are in there. Pan's obviously rescued. Whole gang's there. Red at that time when the good guys, when Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 stopped fighting and they were kind of taking off the Red Ribbon Army guys or goons, he managed to escape, and so he wanted to get Cell Max, because Cell Max was someone that they wanted to be their ace in the hole, but he wasn't fully completed, and he figured now's the time to do it. It's now or never. And him awakening Cell Max, definitely. It felt like it could have been better if maybe they gave Cell Max a little bit more of a better design choice. I know, if I'm not mistaken, drawing a little bit of those patches on Cell was a problem, and I guess going that animation route was a lot better because it's not as, I guess, hard on the hand or whatever the case may be. But I feel like Cell Max, some of the colors didn't really add up. It didn't really make sense. But also, looking at it, it's like, okay, yeah, he's different, but he's kind of like an imbecile. He didn't really talk. He didn't really have smarts. And he didn't really have cells of the world's greatest fighters. Now, granted, they've only been doing it for 6 months, so we don't know who they've been watching during that time. But the Cell that we knew had cells of great fighters on Earth. This one probably had some copy and paste of various fighters, but really he was still his own person. And so he's broken out. He's on a rampage. He's fighting whoever. And, the heroes try to save Dr. Gero before he gets blasted away by Cell Max. And then that's when all the heroes jump in. Goten and Trunks fuse. They haven't fused in a long time, so we have Fat Gotenks there. He's putting in some work. We have Gamma 1, who bravely, is fighting. Gamma 2, who's brave, who's fighting. Gohan, everyone but Krillin, who kind of, in a sense, was still useful, sidelines watching it. And then, just in the heat of the moment, we get to finally have Pan learn how to fly, because in a way, Krillin told Pan she got to fly. It was the heat of the moment, the ground was shaking, and everyone was fighting, so no one would be able to save Pan. Krillin, technically he could have, because he was on the other side, but Pan was running towards them, and she wasn't going to make it. In that heat of the moment, she learned to fly. It was a beautiful thing. I'll get back to that in a minute. So, they're all fighting Cell, and Gamma 1, I feel like even though he was a cocky one and stuff like that, he went out noble. He went like a true honorable hero, because he knew Cell's weakness was on their head, and it was going to be a little bit of a tough challenge. So he figured, if I go all the way up, come all the way down, I'm gonna hit him with everything I got, like a full charge attack. And he does it. It doesn't work. Cell, I think it like broke off a piece of his hand. Had some stuff that was already damaged, but he still had a working hand. A little bit of his dome was slightly cracked a little bit because of, I think, Gotenks did it the first time, and then Gamma maybe the second time, if not missed it. But he died. He kind of this dude did his thing. Put him next to Dr. Gero, and the Warriors will keep fighting. And then Piccolo goes into orange mode again, and he's pretty much telling Gohan to stay back, charge up, and try to tap into some of his power. Gohan's charging, trying to get back to, I guess you could say, max power. He has a sensu bean, but he's still, charging to go above and beyond. And I think Piccolo knew what he was doing. He needed Gohan to get that push. It was kind of like a repeat of Cell. He was like, okay, if everyone is getting their asses kicked and Gohan's the only one there to witness it, something should trigger in his head. Because Piccolo had that one-on-one moment with him. I thought that was very good, which was, very brave. It was a powerful quote for Gohan, and that coming from Piccolo, someone that Gohan admires, I think it spoke volumes. And, everyone's getting the shit kicked out of him. And then Piccolo, he's going out, he's doing this thing, and then Cell, throws him up top and shoots him with all these ki blasts. He's coming down like he's knocked out. And, Cell holds him up top, kind of like to show like he's been defeated. I defeated your teacher in front of you, and Gohan snaps. And I think when he snaps and he gets that new form, everyone's going crazy, because now, for some people like myself that seen it, we didn't want to see how it transpired. We wanted to see it right then and there in the theater, and seeing that, everyone was going crazy. Everyone was going crazy. And he didn't really say too much, Gohan, but you could definitely tell like that new power was good. The thing about Gohan is when he gets these new power ups, he gets it's like he gets over consumed with the power and he gets cocky. We've seen it with Cell, we've seen it with Majin Buu, and Piccolo has always, time and time again, I told him, you get this ego when you get this power, and you need to be focused, because you could have taken out Cell, but instead he took out your dad, and then with Majin Buu, you got, you didn't do what you're supposed to do, and then you got absorbed. So it's like, when you get this power, use it. Don't flaunt it, don't taunt it, just use it. And you could definitely tell when he had it, that's what he did. But at the same time, he kind of was steering off from it until Piccolo told him to take the shot or do this or do that, which kind of like reeled him back in. And he charges up this crazy special beam cannon. And I thought it was a good callback, a great move, because we know for a fact, if you look at Dragon Ball Z and the Saiyan Saga, where Gohan and Krillin are going to Namek and they're doing pretty much like shadow mind training, Krillin shooting a couple Kamehamehas, I think a Destructo Disc, and Gohan hits Krillin with the special beam cannon. And then Krillin snaps out of the training. To me, seeing that as a kid, I was like, damn, he hit him with something. But, I got a little bit more older. I'm like, that was a special beam cannon, because that's the only thing that would swirl Gohan at that time. He was always around Piccolo, so he's probably seen Piccolo training off screen with certain techniques and copying it on his own time when Piccolo's not around looking at him. So it made the most sense, And then he charges it up, you know what I'm saying? And that special beam cannon goes through Cell's mata, his top, his head, and Dragon Ball likes to be so dramatic that it shoots through his head and it goes through the whole world, and it's like, yo, that's a special beam cannon for real. That's kind of like berserk special beam cannon or whatever the case is, because even Piccolo kind of admired it, and it's like, that move, like, what was it? How'd you do it? And Gohan was kind of like, well, I've been doing it in secret, for a while now and stuff like that. So I thought that was cool that, Gohan still looks up to Piccolo, we obviously know there's a bridge gap between them, but we do know that Gohan respects Piccolo, he looks up to Piccolo, and anything Piccolo does, Gohan's definitely going to he's gonna do it. He's gonna critique it. It's you know, it's his teacher. You know what I'm saying? And he, you know, he definitely wants Piccolo to be proud of him. And I think it shows. You know, it really shows. Another thing, a slight hint too that I thought was cool when they were fighting Cell. Cell got big, and Piccolo was saving Gamma 2 from Gamma 1 being crushed. Krillin was like, hey, Piccolo, why not just go big like you used to in the World Tournament? I thought that was cool because when I'm watching this whole fight with Cell, Goku, Vegeta, and Broly are not there. I feel like if we were to go now to Z, we have new heroes, you know, Gamma 1, 17 and 18, Gohan, Piccolo, Pan, Goten, Trunks, and then Krillin would kind of be like that Master Roshi / guy who comes in every often. I think it's safe to say that if they were to do Z, they could do it that way and have Goku every now and then mentor and help people and stuff like that. But for the sake of the Earth, because they didn't need Goku, they had the power of Gohan, they had the power of Piccolo and the smarts of Piccolo because, you know, he was once Kami. So I mean, just look at it like track records. Like if Goku's not there, they're gonna go to Piccolo. You know what I'm saying? Even Gohan would. So I felt like for that fight, for that scene, for everyone there, it was a blast. It was good. It felt like we might have something here if they were to go this route, possibly. You know, kind of do like a arc or like a couple more movies like that where it's like not focused on Goku and Vegeta and Broly, but the other cast, give them a little bit more shine, a couple new techniques, maybe a slight power up and stuff like that, and they could still help out when they could help out. I thought that was very cool because just little tidbits like that Krillin did, I kind of felt like, okay, they're working with something here. This is like a real like team, you know. So they take out Cell, you know, everyone's good, they're celebrating, you know, Gamma 1 gave up his life and he goes away and he leaves his cape there. Dr. Hero's still alive and he's kind of like broken out of a job. And then Bulma, obviously we've seen this coming, offered him a job at Capsule Corp and tells of the research of his skin. Seeing that, you know, nothing could really like penetrate his skin or kill him from gunshots or fatal blows, she was kind of interested in that and like how she could use it on like her cosmetics and stuff like that. But he noticed like these guys aren't the villains, they're actually heroes, you know. So it's like they have that guy now, you know, which would be kind of like an interesting direction. You know, you have Dr. Hero and Gamma 2, you know, now as the good guys, you know. And Pan, you know, goes to Piccolo, all googly-eyed, all happy, and then she shows him, look, I can fly now. So Piccolo's proud. He's like, good. Now we're going to start your next session of training in this, that, and the third. So you can still see Piccolo, mentor role, always training, always wanting others to train for stuff like that. And it to me felt like, you know, this guy is like the fighter version of King Kai that, you know, in some sense that the Earth needs, you know what I'm saying, the Earth really needs. But we get back to, I think, Goku and Vegeta, because when they were on Whis' planet, you know, they were training and Whis had them fight pretty much in their base form, no Kamehamehas, no Gala guns, just straight up, you know, sparring. And we get to the end and those guys were about to collapse on one another. Goku goes out first and then Vegeta is like right behind him saying he finally beat Goku, but then he's knocked out. Which in a sense, for a lot of people, that is still a tie. I'll say it's still a tie because even though Goku went down first, Vegeta and Goku were both spent. It was more so of Goku was probably at 1% and Vegeta just dropped the 1 to 0. You know what I'm saying? It was like very neck and neck. You know, Goku went out first. He's like, "You got me," but then Vegeta was out, so it's like a draw. Half the people went to sleep, and the only person who saw it was Whis. So I think Broly and the guy from the cook from the Broly movie, they seen it, they cried. Chile was there, and you know, it's one of those things where it's like that's what they were doing off camera. And then you know, Whis sees Bulma called her, but Bulma's like, "Never mind, it's all good." So now Whis is like, "Oh, I need to know like what's been going on," because I think they needed more food from Bulma, but it's one of those things where it's like it's left shrouded in mystery. But I personally say that the movie was good.
if they were to turn it into a like arc, which I think they would, I would really want them to kind of make that Cell Max a little bit more different, you know, where he could talk, or he could probably have certain characters' moves, you know. If to be honest, because Cell was such like a really like cool villain. If we could have Cell Max be somewhat like that, but not always talk about like his perfect form and stuff like that, but just I'm Cell Max. This is Cell at his peak. And have maybe like a few of the heroes' techniques. Not all of them, but a few of them, you know, because I think the other Cell had one too many. I feel like if you just took like Piccolo, Gohan, Goten, Trunks, Krillin, 18, and maybe like 17, you would have some, like a really good boss on your hands, you know what I'm saying? You would really have someone who could really do damage, because even though he had like the cells of like Yamcha and Tien, he really didn't use it. Krillin, I think maybe for the Destructo Disc, but I mean, you could just take cells from Krillin and really just say, hey, you know, we have Destructo Disc and Solar Flare, you know what I'm saying? And like, it would still be good, so. Yeah, like, what I also found a little bit funny was Yajirobe still in Korn's tower, but like, you know, they gave him like this fur, his hair's a little bit more different. They made him look more like he's been around the block, like he's seen some shit in his time, and it's like, dude, you're all the way up there. Like you're not really, you know, but I figured it was kind of cool to see Yajirobe there, because we haven't seen dude in a movie for a long time, I feel like. So just to have him there was cool. To have Korn there was cool, but it sucked because he only had 2 sensu beans. So when Piccolo gave Gohan the first one, I felt like they played a reenactment of when when Goku tossed Gohan one of the Batara earrings and he dropped it somewhere. When Piccolo gave it to him, the sensu bean, he was dropping the sensu bean and it fell. So I felt like that was kind of like a nudge to like the Buu Saga. When Pan, since she couldn't fly when she was training with Piccolo, she had to run. It felt like is Dr. Slump O'Reilly. It felt like her. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of winks, nudges that I had seen, Easter eggs and stuff like that I seen. But I just thought it was kind of cool to have that in there, and if people knew, people knew. People didn't know, it's perfectly fine, you know. So that was cool. But the special beam cannon, hands down, Gohan's form and that special beam cannon, to me, it's finally there. We finally got it, you know, because in the game, Future Gohan had it, but we never seen him use it. We just figured, okay, Goku's clothes, Piccolo's kanji in the back, so you gotta know it. Kid Gohan, we've only seen him when he trained with Krillin, and he did it that one time, but it happened so quick, we didn't see him charge it up. But in this case, in the movie, he was charging it up, and then he shot it. And then he had said the name, so it's like, okay, yeah, this is special beam cannon, you know, this is definitely end all be all, you know. So I think we need to explore more of the forms. We need to see what the duration of these forms are. Like, does it burn their stamina out quick? Does it burn out their, you know, their energy quick? A lot of the forms have to be explored, and I feel like if they were to go series route, they could explore that. They could definitely work on that and critique that and see from there. Hopefully Super comes back 2023. I'm really hoping. Maybe 2024, just because this is like the, I want to say, third Super movie, because Revival F, and then you have Broly, and now you have this one. So this is the third Super movie. Maybe on their fourth movie they can bring Super back, but I don't know, because they've, like, the manga's so ahead, they could actually start, you know, bringing it back slowly and reintroducing certain things, you know, throwing a couple of slice of lives or filler episodes just to kind of get people watching it. But we're all waiting, you know, because Dragon Ball Heroes is a great promotion for the game, but it's just a promotion for the game, you know what I'm saying? Like, we live in the United States, we don't have that, so like our fix for that is just, you know, the promotional fandom Dragon Ball Heroes. That's how I see it anyway. So, you know, till then we're just gonna have to wait and see what Shueisha or not Funimation, yeah, like what Shueisha's gonna do you know, with Dragon Ball. Hopefully they bring it back next year or the year after with maybe one last movie and then a series. I do want to see Goku and Jiren fight, but at the same time I am kind of curious to see Broly and Jiren fight, to see the distance of power. Because, you know, one thing about Dragon Ball, they'll show you a distance of power. Like when Goku and Vegeta were fighting in the movie, Vegeta was on top of the tree, Goku was on top of this little like rock. So it showed you that Vegeta was far stronger than Goku in this base form. So that's to be determined. But that concludes my discussion, my brief talk about the new movie Dragon Ball Super Superheroes. You guys go ahead and check it out. If you love Dragon Ball Z, go ahead and support it. I'm sorry, I said Dragon Ball Z, but if you love Dragon Ball, go ahead and support it. It's definitely a nice, great movie since Broly, and hopefully we'll get the anime back this, well, not this year, but next year, if not the year after that. Some kind of talk, something like that, or maybe another movie. It's great. It was really great. I would definitely suggest watching it in theaters and definitely getting it on Blu-ray or digital if you guys prefer. So this is my first ever review on a movie for the main channel. I usually do a lot of my gaming channel on the Class Master channel, but you'll be seeing a little bit more movie reviews as the content keeps growing and keeps going. It's like my first ever take on this. So tell me what you guys think, and I'm definitely, you know, love to hear your feedback. But until then, I'll see you in the next one. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell for notifications for when I post up things like this, when I go up. This is Clash Masters for his first ever discussion of Dragon Ball Superheroes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and be safe out there.